Hi everyone, it's Fran again, and sad to say this will be our last recording for our Village Dry Goods Summer Block of the Week. This is a little bonus block, so this is actually 13. So you got a baker's dozen here, a +1. So this little fun star is called the Lemoyne Star, and it's kind of Village Dry Goods trademark block. And back behind me we have the beautiful quilt that is all finished. Now it looks a little bit crumply in places, but when it's quilted it'll be gorgeous. But this is our block right in the center of our quilt. So once again, I would like to thank all of you that have joined us all summer long. I hope you've had fun. I know I've even honed up some of my skills in sewing on this, so I hope you've enjoyed our summer block of the week. Thank you for joining us. All right, as I promised those of you that come to class, there's going to be a bonus block. Well, guess what? We're going to make a bonus block. So what you're going to do, and you have a 2.5-inch strip of red, 2.5-inch strip of gold. Don't worry about cutting those down. Now the first part I'm showing you, this is for traditional piecing. I'm going to show you another way, but in case you don't want the ruler, this is what you're going to do. So you're going to take those strips. On our pattern we have a template for you to cut this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that template, trace around it, make your area, or you can just cut it out because it's the right size. And then what you're going to do is you're going to need 4 pieces from your red, this shape. Now keep your grains going the right direction here. You don't want to skew this. Keep it going straight. This will be a diagonal, but keep this going straight. You're going to cut out 4 red ones, and then you're going to cut out 4 gold ones. Like I said, don't worry about trimming down those pieces because you're going to cut it when you do that. Once you have all 4 reds and all 4 golds, then we're going to take our cream pieces. You're going to cut 2 2 5/8 inch squares and 2 2 1/8 inch squares. Now we've got all of our pieces cut out that we need to use to make this unit. You're going to take your larger triangle, you're going to put it on the right side. So all of those together, all 4 of your reds and all 4 of your golds. Once you have those pieces all sewn on your right side, your left side, go ahead and press those seams open. Then put your pieces on your right side and press all of those open. Okay, when you sew on your left side, bring this tip down so that you make sure you have 1/4 inch. And just go ahead then and sew that. Press that seam open. Do the same thing with your right triangle. Make sure that your bottom you have 1/4 inch. And sew that side on. Again, press that seam open. So you'll do that with all 4 of your reds and all 4 of your golds. Then we're going to put those together. So first you're going to sew 1 red and gold together. That makes 1/4 of your block. Go ahead then and sew the other side on it. Repeat that same process for your 2 on the bottom. Then you'll have all 4 pieces sewn together for that block. Now we're going to do our bonus block the way I love to do it. This is using Deb Tucker's Lemoyne Star ruler. It is amazing. Once again, watch her video. She gives gorgeous directions on how to use this ruler. I'm going to show you how to use it. I've used it several times. This ruler will make a Lemoyne Star anywhere from a 3-inch all the way out to a 12-inch. I'm going to show you a fun little thing after we're done doing our block that you can do with this ruler, and the directions are on the ruler. So we're going to be doing a 6-inch Lemoyne Star. So in her directions, the first thing she tells you is what size you're going to be cutting your strips. So for that 6-inch block, we are going to cut our star strips, which is our color piece. We're going to cut those to 2 inches. We are going to be cutting our beige or our creams to 3 1/4 inches. Now once I've got those cut, I am going to mark them. So you need an A top and you need a B-top. And go ahead and you can use, that is going to be cut off, so you can use a pen, pencil, friction pen, whatever you prefer to use. Now what you're going to do is you are going to mark down. Whatever size strip your star points are is how far down you're coming. So remember, we've cut ours at 2 inches. So I'm going to just come over here and I'm going to make a little mark that's 2 inches. Then I'm going to come over to my B side. Now on my A, I've marked on my right side. On my B, I'm going to be marking on my left side. So I'm going to come over to my B and I'm going to give myself a little bit of a mark. Now I'm going to take my B piece and I'm going to lay it on my left side, and I'm going to take my A piece and I'm going to lay it on my right side. And off to my sewing machine I'm going to run to sew these 2 pieces together. Here are my 2 pieces sewn together. You're going to press your A piece to the cream, your B piece you're pressing to the gold. She is brilliant. She has figured out how to press all of these seams so they nest into each other. So now she also gives you directions for right or left hand on her pattern. So now I'm going to take my A and B pieces and I'm going to lay them together, and I'm just going to squiggle these around till I feel that seam nesting in there. Okay, so I think I've got that down very nicely. Now you're going to use your Lemoyne Star ruler for your first cut. You're going to take your seam line right here, put it right on your seam. You can be all the way over to the edge of this. Now I'm going to take another ruler. Oh, nope, can't be all the way over to the edge because I'm going to chop off my cream. I've got to back it up a bit. Now let's try. Oh good, and I don't even have any of my salvage edge. So I've got my black dotted line on my ruler here, and I've got my other ruler here. That is a perfect 45-degree angle, and I don't have to worry about where it is on my ruler and the bottom edge of my strips. So I'm going to make my first cut. Now I'm going to just take my ruler and I'm going to move it over 2 inches. That's our magic number here on a lot of our things. So I move my ruler over and I make my first cut. I'm going to cut 4 pieces exactly the same way. You keep moving that ruler right on down. And use your registration marks on your ruler to make sure you're keeping your edges nice and even. Alright, so now we've got all 4 of our pieces cut. Now we're going to make the next cut that we do on these. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our ruler. This is our 45-degree line. And we're going to come from the tip here, where my seam is, right up to the tip of here, and we're going to give it a cut. Now don't get rid of that piece because we're going to use that. Okay, so we've done that now with all 4 of our pieces. Okay, now we've got those all cut and they look just like this, and there's our piece that we trimmed off. We're going to take that piece and we're going to sew it onto our right side. It's bigger than what it is there, but that's the beauty of this ruler. They're slightly oversized, so when we trim them down, they're going to be perfect. So we're going to sew this. We're going to then press that to the point. So press that towards your red, just like this. So your first one is pressed towards the outside. This is pressed inside, and it matters because when we start putting these together, you'll see why. So now I've got a piece that looks just like this. Now hold up, partners. Don't go any farther and go to the next step and start cutting like I have done, because now we're going to trim this piece down. Now we finally get to use our fun ruler. So what we're going to do is we are going to take that ruler and we are going to line up our unit with our 6, because remember, we're making a 6-inch block. So I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to line up my diagonal lines and my number 6, and I am going to trim 2 sides. Now don't worry about this outside edge, because when we're finished making our block, that's when we get to trim that. Okay, so I have trimmed that. You're going to do that with all 8 of your pieces before you start sewing anything together. So now I have all 8 of my pieces sewn. Now I'm going to start putting those guys together. I'm going to take my 2 pieces. There's my gold and there's my red, and I'm going to make quarters. So I'm going to put those 2 pieces together. Now remember when I told you it matters how you sew it or how you press it? Now when I sew it, my seams butt up here to this one. They're going in opposite directions. So I'm going to butt those 2 seams together. I am a pinner. If you're not, it's okay. And I want all of these pieces to be lined up with my tip. My tip and my sides on this. I don't care what's going on up here, but right now that's what I want. So now I'm off to my sewing machine. I'm going to do my nice 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to sew that together. When I have that sewn together and I'm pressing that seam open, here's my 1/4 unit. I'm going to be making 4 of those units. When I'm finished with those, I'm going to start putting them together into halves. There's my other half, and I'm going to sew this together. Sorry about those little raw edges there, but I want you to notice where all of the points are on here. With this ruler, they're always just smack on. So now I've made my block. Now I can take my ruler, and I just use my regular 6.5 inch ruler, and now I'm going to lay that on there. And if this were all sewn together nicely, everything is going to match up with those diagonal lines. Here is the center. I'm going to, oops, I better give myself my 1/4 inch. Don't chop off your 1/4 inch there. I'm going to line that all up. I'm going to make sure that I've got, if I'd use my center on my ruler, it would be nice. I'm going to make sure that I've got 1/4 inch all the way around, so I'm not chopping off any of my points. But as you can see, you've got a nice little bit to trim off there, so you always will have that 1/4 inch seam. Anyway, Miss Deb Tucker, thank you so much for being so brilliant and doing this ruler. Now, here's a couple of other fun little blocks. This one is just using 2 fabrics. This one, they're all different. So I've used a fabric here and a different one out there. So you make them as scrappy as you want or as plain as you would like. Now let's take a look at what our beautiful block looks like when it's all finished. There is your beautiful bonus block that we talked about.